Some weird image to it. Oh, I thought you were going to make giant eyes or something. All of a sudden.
I already have big eyes.
Good job. Good job. So, it's
Yeah, it's recording.
all right.
Welcome.
Welcome. Nobody's watching at the moment, but this is recorded.
It's recording. It was meant to be live, but would not do it. So here we are.
Now here we are with a talk.
We are doing Sacred Sunday. I've got
Nick
my dear
Kruser.
friend here, and
My study has been for quite a while getting people in a circle and bringing them back to center, to like the roots of it all, to actually kind of bypass a lot of possibly crazy things that they might have to work on, but let's just go back to the roots. Let's just start fresh at the nucleus, go back to the embryo, and how can we all go there together with a fun night?
yes.
And then just ground into that and let other things just drift away that don't serve us.
This is the medicine our time really needs, in my opinion, to get beyond the going forward and backward in our minds and just drop together in present moment.
Like what power can we harness just with the depth of presence with each other? What shifts in multi-dimensions do we reacclimate to within the depth of presence with each other, and just stopping everything and giving absolute all attention to one person at a time, just some funny lost art that so many things around us are navigating us to not going there. So that obviously is the antidote.
So true. And I like how you say to remember to access the miraculous. Because that is truly the state of every single one of us when we're in our authentic presence, however that's showing up. That's the magnificence of our existence. That's our true self shining.
And that affects our walk in life and who we even talk to. What opportunities even arise they couldn't have logically tried to plot out. Something to that. And then that's when you step out of matrix into magic, into the miraculous of resonating with something that's not really in some grid.
Right. And that goes as deep as like our health, if we are attached to a past idea, even if it has manifested true for us, in present moment awareness, present moment play, we reset all the body functionality so that we can come to 0 point and heal.
Yeah, there's a certain vibrations out there that disease can't really hang out in.
Right.
And so it's creating antidotes for disease. What is the nervousness, anxiety, depression, loneliness? Enough of those leads to just bodily pain. And so the pharmaceutical company you can reach because of these reasons. I'm reaching because of this. I'm reaching because of this now. So it's really bring people together to have the antidote for reaching for those things, to actually bring them back, and you're fine.
Which is really an alchemical experiment, because we're not discounting that all those things exist. Like, we may still be grappling with certain things, but in the moment we alchemize that realness that we're bringing, that might be our pain and suffering and so forth, with the present moment, yes, so that we can transform all of those things. Like, we actually need those things as an ingredient to show up in the moment and ignite whatever it is.
So we can make the exact antidote for that exact uneasiness. Right. There's a certain exact uneasiness that's coming into the field for you to then engage with. And that's part of the teaching, to clear more energy for you to inhabit your body.
This is starting to go into what we'd like to talk about. Before we do that, though, I would love to, with the watchers, just here, go into a little creation of the sacred space verbally together. Maybe some rhythm, rather. So from wherever you are, tuning into where we are, just acknowledging that the space that you're seated in, that I'm seated in, is sacred, just because I'm sitting in it, just because you are. And that we gather here with intention to access love. Which is the power of the universe. And so I'm saying yes to a sacred container for the experience of this love and the wisdom that love ushers in.
13 grandmother, she was asked what is love? She thought for a moment, and then she looked back, and it was just something I've said for 150 weeks hosting those circles. She said, it's being present with another, just being completely present with a lover. The lover with another is love. And it was just that, and that's the area. We can just be so completely present. Things that don't serve us can be addressed in the sweetest ways.
Yes. Because love is always just showing up. Love is always just trying to show up. Is showing up. It is showing up right now in my life, in your life, and whatever is going on. It's love showing up. Hey, 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 oh, nah, hey.
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
That was an excursion. Oh, you love that? You love it?
I love that so much.
Okay.
I do. Yes. I mean, that just pretty much says it all right there. And yet, we always find more to say.
Oh, man. So that's it in a transmission. So hopefully, like that was all about embodying it.
Right.
So now to speak to it.
So if you got it, you can just check out.
Yeah, click off. Get on with
And
your
for
life.
the intellectuals, we keep.
The people that like to talk
that's right.
and verbalize
this
things,
portion of the show.
you might want to keep watching if you like to verbalize things to your friends.
It gets pretty interesting.
And yourself. And maybe comment and teach us something, please.
Please. So, yeah.
Oh, the seventh seal?
The seventh seal. This is a question.
Of exactly why it's coming in, the benefits of this thing.
What is it?
It seems like it's a horror show. From a certain lens, it can look like a horror show in life. But a reframe.
And so I've only heard of this in terms of the Bible, like Revelations kind of thing. So in my mind, and maybe in your mind, when you hear seventh seal, you're like, what is that? Some biblical revelation prophecy thing?
Yeah, and I don't know enough about the Bible to even think that.
Yeah, I mean, I had to look it back up and be like, what is happening?
Thing.
All the seals are opening. Like,
right.
It seems to be the apocalypse, like terrible things are bursting out of every seal.
Oh, I wasn't feeling that good. I feel good about myself.
Yeah, so I mean...
It's supposed to be something heavenly, like the seventh seal.
Eventually.
When some horrible thing looks like it's happening, but if you can see, it's actually the seventh seal. It's the rapture. Thank you so much. To frame something that looks like a horror through a certain lens can be flipped and seen like transcendence of all. And the rapture, like, wow. That's the thing I wanted to, build a little system.
Right.
Wrap the minds around this little system, because this is the ultimate crux in the world of transcendence or new earth or next paradigm.
Yeah, so can I bring in the physiological insight? Because this made me apply what I know of yogic wisdom and tantra and so forth, and actually looking at the physiology of the body and how these chakra systems, which I think is what the seals are in this case, that you have 7 main valves for consciousness to flow through, and that your spine is like the connecting rod. It's the rod for your kundalini, for your life force to awaken, but on its journey up the spine and through the chakra points, it's cleansing, it's opening, it's, it's pushing out old programming and framework that you were running off of in your previous consciousness state. So as someone evolves, their consciousness is being upgraded continuously. And it does this through the Kundalini energy.
Initiation.
Yeah, and each chakra are like gateways. So the 7th is a big deal because that means you've made it all the way up to the crown, right? The pineal gland is where the 2 energies that are actually negative and positive in their polarity, yin yang, Ida Pingala, masculine, feminine. Yes, indeed. The fire and water metaphor, like these 2 different, seemingly counter forces, are both necessary for this inner alchemy to occur
Mm.
that actually ignites a higher level of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So piercing your pineal gland, opening the crown, you actually, at the seventh seal, become crowned. I think this is the whole Jesus metaphor too.
Mm-hmm.
Like the crowning of the thorns is like a real thing. Like you are actually crowned.
Crowning of the thorns.
With something that seems to pierce you to the core.
Right, like you've been thrown in a giant vat of blackberry bushes.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, true, and there's this other part that's
And
like, now if you can...
that's what you were alluding to as far as like this being your gift as well, when something seemingly tragic or low point is happening and expressing.
Mm-hmm. And what do you mean the gift? That's to how to look at it as a gift. Is the seventh seal
Or, like,
going on?
It's like the reversal of what you're seeing is like you and your greatest power. So if you're facing a great disempowerment or a great like seeming to be attack on you, but you're meeting it with the equal opposite, realizing this is actually saying, I'm really good right now. Like I'm actually exactly where I need to be and I'm going to own that. Then that...
Because it's the seventh seal scenario.
It's the seventh seal scenario. So you're going to get
in the
blasted.
hero's journey.
Yeah.
Right, in the hero's journey, this is seventh seal area.
It's like the final takedown. Like you think you're at the place where you're finally grounding into who you are and what you've discovered about yourself. And it's like the test point where you get to go, actually, I know who I am. I'm good with me. I love me. And I can actually swallow that negativity up into me and merge poles and crown myself queen or king of my bodily realm.
And that is some sort of Christ consciousness, because then you found the unconditional love. That's what's promoting. It's like if you can't find unconditional love on yourself, then you have to go through these tragedies.
Well, and the tragedy itself is actually a gatekeeper, because you realize that you could never go to that level of understanding and fully embracing yourself were you not like tested right in the face with, I'm going to take you down kind of energy. And you look at that and say, wow, this is love manifesting to challenge me right now to fully embrace myself even more.
Yeah, then fully inhabit yourself. This is it.
Fully
Are you going to fully inhabit every nook and cranny of yourself, of your physical being, of your emotional being, of your spiritual being? Are you going to inhabit? Are you going to live right here? Is this home to you?
Right.
Like, honor this house, which
so
is your
all
temple.
The characters showing up are like those people like holding the doors, like, can you pass this gate? Do you love yourself enough? Have you already decided that you're exactly where you need to be? Because I'm going to tell you you're not, just to test you.
And then...
Dun, dun, dun.
And that's the big decision.
That's the big decision.
That's where to really fully inhabit yourself so you can pass the seventh seal without dying.
Right. Right. And the crucifixion will either kill you or
you'll be resurrected from the dead.
Embodied. Yeah. Right. And maybe it does actually kill you, ultimately kills that lower self you that was in charge still saying, I don't know if I really got this figured out yet. Like, all these people are telling me there's something wrong with me, so maybe there is. Or maybe I am in the wrong place right now. Or, like, maybe, you know, if you can't pass those questions that are being posed to you, that's like the crucifixion happening. Like, if I put you on the cross, do you still know who you are? And you can still thank everyone showing up that's, you know, pressing all your buttons so that you could have this final, you know, death of the old paradigm.
Yeah.
That was wavering between the two, positive, negative, good, bad, and just fully inhabit all of it.
Yeah, to give like a reference is for to just say this. When you're like feel like you're on your greatest path, you're doing your greatest work, and then something wants to take that down, some person wants to take that down. That right there is the level of unconditional love, forgiveness, and empathy, and all that have to be so compounded.
But first you have to feel like angry. Like you literally have to let yourself, because that is the initiation of the power source. Like that's your
Kundalini. The anger is the power source.
And you just don't use it as anger. You recognize this isn't anger, it's power.
Power.
Yeah, they've just pushed my power button.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for pushing my power button. Now I know what to do with it. I'm going to send it up and like crown myself with it. And so those people are actually to be given honorary, awards on the stage of that old play of your life. Like, thank you for showing up as those people to try to block me. Because once I made it through.
Because I need to run a long ways to get to that touchdown. You don't just go like 10 feet and settle. Right. You have to go all the way through all of them.
Like, imagine if you're running for a touchdown and you're just like, no one's there. It's like a very exhilarating feeling. But if you make it through all these blocks, like you're like, I made it through the and then I flipped over and I still kept going, and like there was another guy and then another guy, and then I finally made it like through all of them.
And then you show that instant replay. Yeah. People want to watch that forever.
Totally.
They want to just, let me watch that again, year after year, because it had a certain amount of energy and power that it sent a transmission of power through their being. Of like, oh, that's a lot of power that human experience
like just showed. Nothing's going to stop me.
Right. They can just. That's one of the main reasons people even watch sports. It's like, give me that feeling of nothing's going to stop me. But it's sucked into the sporting arena where it could really be like, let's not stop me doing something grand.
Let's not stop me showing up fully present as who I am.
That's the don't stop me.
Yeah, don't stop me as that. And we believe in our lower consciousness states, and they're not bad, they're just part of our evolutionary journey, that when our chakras are more closed off and we can't access full life force energy, then we get to experience what it feels like to not fully love ourselves. We get to experience what it feels like to not be confident, to like question our abilities so that we can overcome. Like those are the obstacles.
That's the obstacles
that we get.
To like get up to like dimension 4.1, then great, you made it, woo. 4.2, okay, can you pass these areas of Christ consciousness and forgiveness, and you keep moving forward and not burn out before you get to the grand prize.
Right. So the seventh seal experience we're discussing is maybe like your most challenging experience. Like the characters are really challenging you right now in how you are showing up or how you think like things may be panning out. Like they looked really good.
Yeah, they look like that. I think that's the best one, because that's one of the hardest ones. When you weren't taken down from doing bad things.
Yeah, like you were like on your path.
Like super pristine, all the reflections are like epic. And then it's like, that right there. It's like, what do you do with that? Because it's even more of a jerk.
And sometimes that literally means the scene's going to be dismantled. Like it doesn't by any means mean that you making it through the blocks means that you got to keep your pretty world that you made.
Totally.
Right?
Oh, completely.
Like, it's not like I'm making through these blocks and I'm going to hold my ground anyway and I'm still going to reign here. It's like that might not be your seventh seal.
That throws you off your whole dynamic path and range and your mission. That's not part of the mission.
Right. It's actually pushing you toward your actual mission.
Yeah. Right. If you're really going to be that, then this has to happen.
Which is going to have a lot of the threads of the things you were doing. Like, it'll have the true threads carried forward. You're just being, like, shed of the rest as part of the initiation. That's how it feels. So, comment if you're on your seventh seal.
Right, talk about seventh
What's
seals.
going on with you?
That place where you feel like you're doing your greatest work ever, and then something wants to rip it down out of an odd emotion. Like, what is that? And that seems like a real peak experience for people's lives to get through. And then it's like, then you can feel like that is a real big ta-da.
Yeah, like, and we're talking about it because it really is to make a new template, to be like, if this is happening, this is a thing.
What is the template to jump into? What is the flow chart to jump into?
What do you do next? What do you do next?
Because people always speak of like, forgiveness and Christ consciousness and compassion. Like, give real, true examples of what that is, then give the framework.
But you never just go straight to forgiveness unless you're suppressing stuff. Like, let's be honest. Like, if you're just like, oh, I forgive him, and it really was an injurious thing, like, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Like, dig that up again and let yourself feel the feels, because that's where you access the power, is in the feels of it, like in the anger or in the feeling of betrayal, in those like deep emotions that we're taught to not have. Instead, what if we have them, but we don't use them like we've been taught? It's like a sword that doesn't stab people. It's the sword that instead like sits in your own, stone or whatever. Like, it ignites your energy of your body. Like, you become the philosopher's stone. It's like it's in you, and that anger ignites your ability to raise to the next level. So it's a holy ignition. The betrayal.
It's a holy ignition.
It's holy. Yeah.
So wild. Betrayal is holy.
Yeah.
Making every little thing everywhere holy.
Yeah. To make it all holy, sprinkle that holy all over.
Yeah. What was the word that was holy again?
The betrayal.
Betrayal.
The anger.
Oh, man. Betrayal conjures up so much anger.
And that's a hard one.
That's like that's why it's so like, what are the top pieces to, make a template to navigate through.
Yeah, and this is no spiritual bypass. This is like going right to
there's
the core
no
of the matter.
bypass,
Like, I'm going to swallow this one fully and really get how this is allowing me to be initiated into the next level. And that initiation, because it's so profound to crown yourself and become king or queen of your bodily realm. I mean, that's a profound...
Yeah, that's everything.
You're fully embodied. Like, nothing's getting...
That's how holy this betrayal is going towards.
It's pushing you there. And if you weren't there yet, then you're susceptible to that anger that the betrayal brings. So you actually require it on some level. And we spoke about also that we could manufacture within,
instead of having
games
to
and
really
things
go through hard traumas.
Yeah, because we're not like, oh, Yahoo, call in your next betrayal. Like, that's not what we're saying. We're like, here's a template for the ones you've already been through. Now, what can we do to facilitate maybe creating a seventh seal experience, but in a maybe funner way?
Yeah, way more joyful way. And that's where I feel like the circle groups are that. They're like, oh, we can kind of do this in the most sweetest way. And that's the thing of like, just for fun, I use the word bypass. It was just because that's such a trigger word. I try to get rid of the trigger. To go to the nucleus, to go that homeostasis area with a crowd of people, 10, 40 people, just go there. That right there is going to like acclimate your being on a physiological level to not have to go through some crazy trauma to learn a movement in your evolution.
Exactly.
And that's why all the therapy is so good. Like, do lots of therapy so you don't have to have a head-on collision to wake you up.
I mean, and this was the point of yoga, really originally, I feel like. It's just keep that energy flowing nice and balanced. Like, let's do these poses and these breathing things to bring you present and really just allow that connection to happen between poles without needing it to be out here like this. Because let's be honest, if positive and negative is outside of you, it's a lot more violent feeling than when it's inside of you. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, because you can hold love and anger for someone and be like, okay, I'm going to work that energy in myself. Or you can just hold hot and cold. Or I'm a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm going to get comfortable. Like, you can kind of like hold those opposing forces in yourself more masterfully, like the more you work with it. Or even just say, like, I can breathe in both of my nostrils. Like, I can do that. Like, I can breathe air in my right nose and air in my left nose. That's like basic being a human, super easy. So if you can do that, that's actually both poles. Mm-hmm. You know, I can see out of both my eyes. Like, I'm going to practice seeing out of both my eyes and realizing I'm balancing positive and negative in me. But externally, that usually has to show up as some dramatic clash to really see positive and negative. playing out, right?
Yeah. See them all play out.
Because externally it's like person screaming and silence or not screaming. And it can feel violent to have to experience it like that. So the game way
The game way.
The game way is the gateway.
Game way is such a sweeter, joyful gateway.
Just sweeter, joyful.
Like you can go through the 4.8 dimensional portal on Highway 46, or you can go through the 4.8 dimensional portal through Highway 27. It's your choice.
Yes.
One, you can do like have a tragedy happen and be like, oh, I gotta transcend this son of a bitch. Oh God. Or maybe one's just like playing a bunch of games with your friends and just like let go of that piece.
Yeah, so we were also having a conversation of what is the benefit of traumas to help us become empowered. So we were talking about like the fires, for example.
Oh, yeah, good one. The fires, for example.
Yeah, like what is the benefit of having
these fires,
this destruction happening? You know, to be able to alchemize that happening in a practical way in our world is like, well, it's bringing people together to help each other and support each other. And of course,
by any means necessary.
By any means necessary. And although it's completely tragic and it's not like we want these things to happen, but if we're also not moving in the direction of deeper connection and deeply supporting and coming together and all of that, it's like nature creates it so that we will.
Mm-hmm. Nature creates it so that we will.
Because it's natural for us to come together and experience our love, to experience the love. Like
nature's being our therapist. Nature, if you're not tapped in enough to listen to nature, then maybe it'll just show you, well, here's a way you can be together.
And so we came to the conclusion that these circle groups could help prevent
forest fire
or any tragedy. You know, like this is a simple way to preventatively work through all this.
Everything.
Just
like re-inhabit oneself, come back together, and then everybody can anchor in everybody's transmissions. Like, what is your goal that you want to talk about? What is the goal you want to sing about? What is your activation you want us to all do together with you? Everybody brings their gifts, and everybody gives all that, and then everybody can receive everybody's transmissions, and then it re-acclimates everything. And so then all of a sudden, we're in like a different dimension where we don't have to have the tragedies happening that are forcing us to come together, like come together on our own in these really deep ways, not just watching the game, or the illusionary ways of coming together, even as hitting the anger button with 75 other people on Facebook is the illusion of togetherness. So it is that it's such an illusion. So it's a 180. It's actually be in a room with people and let's talk about things and sing songs and play. That's actually where it's at. And then we don't have to experience mass amount of tragedies.
Yeah, I actually think that's where the whole like Shakespearean, plays came about, is to engage people in play and comedy and like acting it out so that it diffuses the need for you to have to experience it in your own life. You can come together and be present and laugh and cry and do all these very human things together in a safe space.
Yeah, just amazing. That would such therapy for all the actors and actresses. Like, everybody via Shakespeare, just part of it. Like everybody has to go through this cauldron, and it will be the safest, sweetest, funnest, craziest, good time way to do it.
Make up the story as you go along instead of like remembered lines. Just like hop up and.
Maybe once you did that play 20 times, then you can just live so lucidly. Now I understand Shakespeare after all this time. I couldn't take it.
I think I got it too.
Yeah, it's so great.
Thank you.
I only went to one play, and I was just like, this is ridiculous.
What's happening here?
I have no idea. And now I just got the transmission. Now I can appreciate it and still never have to go to it. people. That is awesome.
That's amazing. What a gift.
I love Shakespeare.
I love Shakespeare, actually. Yes. So, the seventh seal.
Yeah, what is the template? People are experiencing this one area. What's the beautiful template?
The beautiful template is first just, I know, he's like, you can go on and on, just give him just a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
But to notice that the tragedy is occurring, or the I don't want to call it a tragedy necessarily, but you know that the big trigger has been, the button has been pushed. And you're maybe asking, why is this happening? Everything was so perfect. Why is this happening? And that's like a clue that you're in the seventh seal.
Nice.
Yeah. So shifting that perspective to that, oh, I'm entering this initiation. And move into a space of honoring it as such. Little by little, that allows us to adjust our perspective of who's showing up in that initiation as love. Because it may not look what we think love is supposed to look like. But as Kahlil Gibran puts it, something like, love has no desire except to fulfill itself. Be willing to be wounded by too much tenderness for love. So if everyone just wants to breathe up their spine with us, maybe take attention to the third eye center. Make the intention, perhaps with us now, with me, to activate this faculty of observation. Let me be aware of my seventh seal. If it comes, when it comes. And I want to say an element of excitement could replace our previous perspective. Because no one's going to crown you but you. This conversation could go on, but we're just going to thank you for joining us today for Sacred Sunday. Invite more comments and conversation, and invite you to a circle group, whenever the circle group is near you. And if you're watching today, there is one in the Portland area tomorrow night, and maybe Tuesday too.
Just check, huh?
Maybe we'll leave someone has a space.
A comment underneath if it says something, or someone has space, but mainly about that Monday or Tuesday one. If we can put a comment on the space if somebody's interested.
Totally. Perfect. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. Here's to being crowned.